welcome to CBN4's Primetime News for today. I am your presenter, Arjen Christopher. Here's a look at the headlines for today. The final 9 Calypsonians have been selected for the grand finals of Dominica's Calypso, where King Caressa awaits. The opposition party, the UWP, says it wants full accountability for the CBI funds and a $100 million US debt forgiven by Venezuela. And the school feeding program is facing stiff challenges post-Maria, says its coordinator. Stay tuned for these and other stories right here on CBN4. We'll be right back. And welcome back. First up, 8-time Calypso King Dice, along with 8 other Calypsonians, have cemented their place in the final round of Dominica's Calypso competition. The 9 Calypsonians who made it through to the finals will meet with the reigning Calypso monarch, Lord Caressa, on February 10th in a battle for the Calypso crown. According to the final decision from the judges, the Calypsonians who made it through to the finals are the 8-time Calypso monarch, Dice, Chris B, Scrunter, Stefan, Hexy, JD, DeBob, Sai, and the only female Calypsonian to win the coveted title, Tasha P. Here's a little highlight of Dominica's Calypso semi-final on the weekend.
She is the biggest loot around. She brought me hard, leave me in pain. But I don't want to call her name. But I pray that he always come back again. And I get her winning, I get her thinking, I get her banging. I get her lashing, I get her flashing, I get her banging. You should see my condition, just like a crucifixion. And tears flowing like River Jordan. But I said, don't cry, don't cry. The deeper I'm on the ground, the greater will be my resurrection. Yes, I live the devil. I think that's the 5 minutes. I want to tell you, stay on the finals. Yeah.
You know, in life most of us want to be good people, doing the right thing and staying out of trouble. But on life's journey, we sometimes lose our way, allowing ourselves to be constantly led astray. We are so blessed, but we curse those with whom we disagree.
Coming from already, that's why I'm married.
My fitness also.
I know your fitness there. That's why you renew your vows. Since he lose the weight, he renew his vows, you know. He make sure he renew the vows, because when he start to see everything down there, he said, let me make sure Joanne's there. Let's go and renew those vows. Next Calypsonian, singing a song, Saki Sao, say Sao. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Hexy.
We never want to work. Some of us, we do them greedy. We put in politicians first. Some of us have delusions of grandeur. We blame big, but we so small. Those of us who really love this nation, we so very hard.
little girlfriend of mine was letting me know why I am a hypocrite. From where all you fellas take calypso, and look where all you bring it. From a human rights champion to a defender of what we know to be wrong. This country is in a crisis, and look at calypsonians. All you like ostrich, all you head buried in the sand. Yet you want to be a calypso king. With these passive topics and excuses, you just come and sing. Go and sing the truth, Lord. Go and sing the truth. Well, the judges and them, they don't like you, but the public will appreciate you. So what do you have to lose? What you trying to prove? And when you see much truth, they'll accuse you of airing your country's dirty laundry. Don't worry, the truth will make you free.
You don't like the looter. Piper is a looter. King Dice is a looter. Hey, hey, We'll forever remember the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. What said the police from Jamaica shot and kill a young looter in Dominica? I was heading out my gate to see what I could take. Long before daybreak, before the city awakes, the local boys might give me a break, but the foreign police is a risk that I have to take. The police are shooters, but I'm an looter. I carry galvanized wood, fridge and stove and the scooter. After a disaster, I'm like the hyena. Hey.
20 Calypsonians performed at the semi-finals on Saturday at the Newtown Savannah. And the official Mass Dominic Street Festival kicked off with a bang at the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard at the Bayfront. This year's festival replaced the usual opening of Carnival Parade since the events of Hurricane Maria allowed for adjustments to be made to this year's Carnival event. At the street festival, only the Amnesia Band, Sensei and the Bois Bois were on show. This year's carnival activities is set to take on a more traditional approach. The street festival featured the legendary Swinging Stars Band, First Serenade Band, together with traditional and contemporary groups, Calypsonians including Caressa and of course Tasha P. And a number of farmers were lined up on Friday at the Dominica Agricultural and Industrial Bank, the Aid Bank, to receive the assistance from an agricultural emergency response grant for farmers who were severely affected by Hurricane Maria. The government of Dominica recently signed an agreement with the Dominica Agriculture and Industrial Bank for this grant to assist the farmers. The emergency response grant is worth $7 million US, which is equivalent to 18,817,400 Eastern Caribbean dollars from funds provided by the World Bank under the Disaster Vulnerability Response Project. One farmer from the community of Bells supports the idea of the grant to assist the farmers, but also believes it could have been done in a better manner.
They should have sent your money to your location, your bank, where you do your transaction, like your savings. Send it to your saving, your account, send that money to your account so that it will be less congestion for you to come into this place.
A huckster who received his check also echoed the same sentiments as Curtis Ely.
Well, at least it's rough. They should have done that a little better because the people have been stressing there, and then I think if they didn't meet the people on their farm and do something better, it would be better because I see there's a stress there right now just to collect a check. So everything in Dominica is just a tightness. Everything in Dominica is a tightness. You have to stress for this, you have to stress for this, you have to stress for that. I don't know when we'll survive. But anyway, thanks God for the check. Thanks God for the Labour Party.
Carbon further stated that the funds received will go directly into agriculture. Massey Insurance, one of Dominica's insurance companies who attended the National Symposium, says that they are aware that there is a stigma associated with insurance companies that insurance companies are thieves. However, Regional Claims Manager for Massey Insurance, Barry Luke, explained that insurance companies are established to protect one's investments. He says that one has to be informed of the type of coverage that they are paying for if they intend to get the full benefits.
If your building value is within 85%, which I think is the same thing with Sagicor, we do not apply average, right? So anything under that, we would apply average. So again, imagine that you're valued for $80,000, which is maybe around 20% of the actual value. It means that out of $150,000, you may only get $30,000 if the estimate was fair and reasonable according to the adjuster, right? And that's a serious. I mean, your contractor comes in and says, look, to get you back in the position you were, or to get your house rebuilt, your roof back on, you need $150,000. But based on how you've taken out your policy, you're only eligible for $30,000. Now that's a big big deficit, right? For me, if it was me, I don't know what I would do, you know, where would the rest of that money come from, right? Some people may have it, and others won't have it. And even if you do have it, it means that you dip into savings that you may have had there for other purposes. Education, your children, right? For anything, put aside for anything happening to you health-wise, you know? And those are the real-life examples. I like to deal with real-life examples. That's what's happening. So I want to encourage Dominicans. If all, I mean, we're talking about unity. Yes, I'm speaking on behalf of Massey United Insurance, but I think what's more important to us at Massey is that persons out there understand how it works, and you make your decision on how you insure your property based on this.
Luke went on to say that the weather patterns are not changing. He stated that in a matter of 2 years, Dominica had suffered 2 major disasters. Therefore, he is urging persons to become even more interested in understanding what the insurance companies do to protect your interests.
No, so I say to all my customers, plan for the inevitable. It could happen this year again. June starts the hurricane season again. It can happen again anywhere in the Caribbean, right? So think about it. At Massey United Insurance, let me come back to us. We offer terms that you can pay that $2,500 if that is what we rate as, for example. That's just an example. Meaning that you can pay up to, you can have it your premium divided into a number of months, and you can pay month by month. So you pay a deposit, and then every month you pay, you know, at a portion to make sure that you're adequately insured. Do not look at the $2,500 and say, oh, I can't afford that upfront. I don't have $25 to pay out. Sit down and talk with your insurer, and I'm speaking generally now, not Massey. Sit down and talk with your insurer about that. We offer it at Massey, yes. So if you come to us, you can sit down and talk to any of our agencies about the payment plan, and we'll organize that payment plan for you, right? But most importantly, we at Massey United Insurance want you guys to make sure that your values are where they should be.
He emphasized that to build Dominica better and stronger and avoid the level of loss as experienced during Hurricane Maria, one has to be adequately insured. And we'll be right back with more news right after this break. Stay tuned.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, Smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
Welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News Package. According to a press release, the United Workers' Party is again asking the Roosevelt-Skerrit administration to present a complete and truthful post-Maria accounts for the Citizenship by Investment Program and the US $100 million debt forgiven by Venezuela in November of 2017. The UWP's letter states that it is estimated that between September 18, 2017 and December 31, 2017, from the sale of passports and the debt forgiven by Venezuela, the government had at its disposal over $1 billion EC for relief, recovery and reconstruction responsibilities. The opposition party says that to date, there are no reports on how these funds are being spent and no policy measures for the transparent, non-political utilization of these funds in the climate-resilient rebuilding of Dominica. The letter also states that persistence with this substandard governance conduct will make it increasingly difficult for Dominica to secure further assistance from a world community that rallied purposefully behind our cause in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. You can visit our CBN4 website to view more on this story. Overseer and coordinator of the Dominica's school feeding program, Pamela Geist, said that the post-Maria, the school feeding program has not gone into full stream due to the number of challenges caused by the hurricane itself. A number of schools suffered extensive damages during the hurricane, leaving majority of its students with tents as temporary classrooms. The kitchen area at the schools in many instances got some level of damage, which also hinders the feeding program from moving forward.
Still a water situation that is not really fully back on stream. So it was not in the best interest of the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, the health of course of the children, for us to be able to have any sort of feeding and preparation of food in a kitchen that was in disrepair, and as well do not have water and all of the sanitary facilities that would require us for us to be able to operate a school feeding program.
Upon her visits to some of the schools, Geist noted that some of the schools are now picking up while just a few schools have started feeding its students again. She also said that for the schools who are engaged in a shift system, the possibility of having a feeding program that would cater for the morning and afternoon shift is being looked at. The other challenge, Geist said, is the availability and use of the local ground provisions.
So right now we are in a situation where we will have like a lot of imported goods, like the rice and the pastas. But then again, we already have been beginning to see vegetables coming in, even from our local, as a local produce coming in. And so the rice and the wheat, the flour and the pastas is not so much of a problem, because we can complement with beans, and they are starches in any case. The same way that we have the fig and the dashings and the yam as starches, the rice and the flour and the macaroni and spaghetti as touches as well. They all do the same thing, except that because it's the local ground provisions, we have a higher content of fiber in the diet. So we would say it is not so much processed, it is a better food. So we would give priority.
The coordinator said that as soon as the school kitchens are repaired, all of the schools will be able to continue the feeding program once again. And also in the news, President of the Dominica Cycling Association, Ronald Charles, has announced that the association is looking at spreading the sport to the different schools on the island. Charles noted that after the setup of the association's 2-year plan, the Cycling Association has seen an increase in the number of young persons joining the club.
School, especially the primary school, because we have one of our objectives and aim is to visit the secondary and primary schools and get them engaged in cycling, because what we see is that without the young people being involved in cycling, the future of cycling would not be, we need a future in cycling, so therefore the young people has to be.
Charles said there remains no particular order that one has to follow in registering for the cycling club.
If you are a young person, below the age of 18 years of age, that you would have to get your parental consent, because we remember cycling is a very interesting sport, it's a very popular sport, but at the end of the day they are dangerous to it, and we have to ensure that we get written consent from parents especially when young people are participating in the races.
Charles noted that over 20 persons are engaged as a member of the Cycling Association. And 5 teams were victorious on the weekend as the Dominica Football Association kicked off its first competition since the hurricane. On Saturday in the Nations Cup, Southeast defeated LA Stars 4-0 at the La Plaine playing field. Jocelyn Prince, Javid George, Sidney Lockhart and Kevin George scored for Southeast, while at the Cassibros playing field, Buster Warner and East Central played to a 1-1 draw. Frankie Pierre scored for Buster Warner, with Richard Newton scoring for East Central. In another match from the Nations Cup, Skerrit Northeast failed to show up for their match against the Northern Concrete and Steel Bombers at the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. At the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, no play was possible between the Petro-Caribbean Point Michel and Delton United. The action continued on Sunday with RC Doctors defeating Kalinago Football Club 6-1 at the La Plaine playing field. Darren James registered a hat-trick for RC Doctors, with Calvin Christopher scoring 2 and Leon John Baptist getting 1. Damian Challenger scored the only goal for the Kalinago Football Club. In another match, We United edged out Belfast Estate Maho Soccer Strikers 3-2 at the Cassibros playing field, and at the Benjamin's Park, Central Cooperative Credit Union Dublin Football Club defeated Exodus Football Club 2-0. Travis Joseph and Shekel St. Mary scored for Dublin. And with that, we come to the end of today's Primetime News package. On behalf of the entire CBN4 team, I am Alian Christopher saying thank you for watching.